Hello everybody, I'm TychoCelchuuu and welcome to a Company Heroes 2 Noobcast, a game featuring newbie players where we talk about mistakes they make, ways they can improve, and basically help everybody get better at this video game. Our match today is between Killerosser playing as the Osthair and Metastaple 14 playing as the Soviets. I believe this is Metastable's first ever multiplayer match, so talk about a Noobcast. And presumably the matchmaking is not awful enough to put him up against someone who's good. So Killerosser is probably bad at the game too, so that's great. Though we'll have a lot of stuff to critique. Killerosser not doing anything bad so far, just building the tier 0 and getting out some grenadiers. That's pretty simple. Metastable going quick tier 1 and also building conscripts, so acceptable, I suppose. It's a little early with the tier 1. You probably want to just cap something first with your combat engineers before building tier 1 because notice once you get tier 1 out, you're not going to have the fuel to build anything in terms of the scout car. So you have time to cap one of these things, then go back and build it and get that. You can, of course, get the penal battalion or the sniper with your manpower because they don't cost any fuel, but it's going to be a lot of manpower until you can get either of these, right? They're both 360 versus 240 for the conscripts, so if you buy either one of these, you're going to have to wait a long while to save up. Did he oorad these people? We'll talk about in a second. You're going to have to wait a while for your manpower to build up to build either of these, so probably your best bet is just dumping it into conscripts unless you have some crazy sniper strategy or even a crazy penal battalion strategy. But since you probably don't have that, conscripts are a safer bet from tier 1 until you can get the scout car out and then put stuff in the scout car, presumably putting engineers in the scout car with the flamethrowers. So that's the only reason to build tier 1 normally, and whenever you build tier 1, don't build it until you need the thing to get out of it. So in that case, you can cap some stuff with these people. So like I said, we were going to talk about the oorad. He oorad this conscript squad before it was even on the map. Like when it was over here, he selected them and hit oorad. So oorad makes you move faster, and that's all it does, and it costs munitions, so you can't just use it all the time. You want to save those munitions for stuff. And there's really no reason to oorad just around the map just for kicks. In the early game, what you want to save your oorad for is when you spot an enemy machine gun. Do we have an enemy machine gun? No, not yet. But when you spot an enemy... Oh, no. When you spot an enemy machine gun, you want to flank it before it sets up, or even while it's setting up. So like if the enemy sets up their machine gun and is aiming in this direction or something, and you have conscripts running here, you want to oorad and then run in this direction or this direction and get out of the arc of fire for the MG, and then you get really close to the MG and shoot it and kill it. So that's what you want to use oorad for in the early game. The other thing to use oorad for in the early game is to rush in before your opponent captures something. So like let's say this point gets to like, well, maybe down here. Well, nobody's capping something close enough yet, but let's say they're about to capture like this point or something, and it's a really important point. Let's say it's munitions, so it's not super important, but actually munitions works for this example. So let's say the opponent's about to capture this. If you can get into the capture zone before they finish capturing, you will stop their capture. And in fact, if you force them off, then of course you'll be able to capture it yourself, although it'll take a little while because first the capture has to tick down and then it starts ticking up for you. But in any case, stopping the capture is the key thing because it'll keep your opponent from capturing the point. So if you want to oorad in to get there in the last, like the nick of time, just to stop your opponent from capping, then that's worth it. But don't do that unless you can win the fight, because if you can't win the fight, you're just going to get pushed off like 10 seconds later, and then they'll just finish capping because the progress will stay around during the fight. So that's no good. So he's got his scout car out quick from tier 1, so it was worth building tier 1. And then he's going penal battalion. Penal battalion, a weird choice. Not a lot of people get a lot of penal battalions. They're not so great. They're good at infantry combat, and their satchel charges are pretty stupendous if your opponent's in buildings or they're not paying attention. But in general, they're just expensive to build, and you're better off with conscripts because they're cheaper to build and cheaper to reinforce. The thing that's nice about penal battalion, if you do get them, they can upgrade with the flamethrowers, which he's doing right now, and then stick it in the clown car. So it's actually worse now to do that than to just put the engineers in the clown car. Again, an oorad, I'm not sure what that's for. It's worse than putting the engineers in the clown car, because if the clown car dies, then you're going to lose people inside probably, but you have a 50% chance for each person inside. Each person inside has a 50% chance to die when it blows up. So with the penal battalion, if you lose a bunch of those people, that's really expensive and bad. With the engineers, you lose a bunch. It's like, whatever, they're engineers. And the flamethrower that the engineers get is no worse than the flamethrower that the penal battalion get. So if we zoom in, take a look at the flamethrower that this guy's got. So that's basically just the engineer. flamethrower, no reason to worry. Back in the peanut battalion. Bad news, standing on this side of the green cover to cap this middle point. When you're the Germans on the west, or when you're anybody on the west or anybody on the east, get on this side or this side of the tank. Also a bad job for the Germans not retreating from that fight. He just lost his squad to that Molotov cocktail. You can hear it when your opponent's throwing a Molotov. Your units will say like grenade or something. So you'll know that's coming, and you'll be able to dodge it, which you really ought to, and you shouldn't have been on the wrong side of the cover anyway. So now he's retreating his engineers. So the only reason to retreat them at this point, because they weren't in a fight, the only reason to retreat them would be to build some sort of building or something, because he doesn't even have healing back at his home base, so it's not like they can even heal up, as if he cares about healing them up. Looks like we have a Molotov here, a little misaimed. If his opponent actually was standing here, you wouldn't even want to toss a Molotov, because that's red cover. So as long as your opponent's in red cover, you can just like let them be there. You don't want to give them incentives to move out of it. Really, where the opponent wanted to be was this green cover, so you could have thrown a Molotov there to preempt them from going into the green cover, but of course his opponent wasn't good enough. Or actually his opponent was good enough to move into the green cover, but you can never bet on that. So now we get some clown car action. Good move here, driving in, flaming some people. It's dangerous getting this close to grenadiers because they can Faust you, but looks like, is this guy trying to pull out a Faust? No, he's not. So nice, just picked off another squad too. So really bad job by the German player with the unit preservation. You need to pull your squads out of a fight before they die. Sending this up here to cap some stuff, whatever. There, he hit the retreat button. That's great. And that was probably a Molotov unneeded. You can cancel your Molotovs while your guy's throwing them or at any time before that. If you just issue some other order, like a stop order or a move order or something, they will stop throwing the Molotov. You'll get your munitions back. Don't do this as the Germans. You're not going to get your munitions back if you cancel a rifle grenade or if you cancel a Panzerfaust or anything like that, if you move by doing that. So that's not good. Oorah here. I don't know, gets him away from the Panzer Grenadiers, so I guess that's nice. Oorah can be helpful for running away from stuff that you want to run away from. Maybe not worth it to spend a Molotov on these Pioneers. He's not going to have much trouble forcing them off, but his opponent is bad enough to get himself like triple burn from this thing, so he's almost going to lose this Pio squad. So it turns out to have been a worthwhile Molotov, go figure. Don't run into the Panzer Grenadiers. Anytime you get closer to these guys, it's just bad news. There's some green cover right here that you could totally set up in. Also, you don't want to be running closer to a flamethrower, so that's bad news, and there goes the squad. So don't get close to things that will do damage up close to you, and especially for something like a flamethrower where the units carrying them are fairly weak. The longer you can kite them, the further away you can be from them, the better, because then you'll get to accumulate damage on them as they run up towards you. Interesting grenade choice there, but he gets out of there in time. Nice job capping up here with the Peanut Battalion, but this is such a high-powered unit, a Peanut Battalion in a clown car, that what you really want to do is maybe just decap this fuel and then head off and do something. Actually, he is linking up the fuel, so that's going to be pretty good. But in general, it's good to use these mobile high-impact, high-damage units to get as much damage in on your opponent as possible, get as much map control as possible by forcing them off. It's during the mid-game and later on when you're going to want to use this as a mobile capping vehicle, because then that's when it gets more fragile, right? Because in the mid-game stuff comes out that can kill these things. But in the early game, when this is like the king of the battlefield and it can just destroy everybody except it's dead now because it just got Fausted. In the early game when it's the king of the battlefield, you want to really be using it to kill your opponent's units on the retreat, because that's what this is so good at, chasing them down on the retreat, kill the opponent on the retreat, or at least just force your opponent off the map. We have an Opel Blitz truck not set up, so you need to not just move this into the thing that you want to, but you need to click the lockdown button and set it up in the sector. If you don't do that, okay, now he does it. If you don't do that, it doesn't do anything. This is going to give him a lot of resources over time as it goes up, but in general, in a 1v1, you got to be really careful about these things. You want to hide them better. Better place for the Opel truck would be, I guess you can't do there, over here, maybe, or especially over here. This is probably the best place for an Opel truck in this map. Oh, I have a stream running on the right-hand side watching Picumsi, one of the Relic developers, play. He just won his game against Sage of the Six, so that's exciting. But yeah, don't put your Opel here, because your opponent's going to be able to see from here that this sector is yellow if they open up their tactical map or just check their mini-map. And so when they see a yellow sector, they know there's an Opel Blitz there, and they can just run it and kill it because it's really weak and stuff. So what do we see from Teching? We got this Tier 2 built a while ago. He built a... Oh, I'm sleepy. It's late at night. I'm sorry. I want to get this in before I die. So he built a Maxim, whatever, not bad. They got nerfed a bit, but who cares? Still a machine gun. But also built an AT gun. They're interesting choice because he hasn't seen any teching from his opponent, and he's also had a fairly good hold on the field. But whatever. His opponent is teched up a little bit. He's at the support armor core, just nothing coming out of it. Oof, artillery field officer. We don't see that very often. We swap over to Killer Ozer to see what this guy can do. He's got smoke barrage, so this is nice if you want to like move in on a machine gun or something. You just drop some smoke in front of it and run in, because then the machine gun won't be able to shoot you. He's got a concentrated fire. I guess that's like mark target. Motivate nearby soldiers and vehicles to fight harder. Oh, it's like for the fatherland or something. You can tell I don't really use the artillery field officer very often. Look at his squad too. It's cool. He's like badass. He's got this pistol. Pew. Pew. Nope, he's not shooting. I like how the officer got his own squad though this time. It kind of sucks that they all wear camo but he doesn't. So it's like they're hiding in the bushes or something, and then he's like, I am the officer. I am here to dispense artillery. And they're all like, dude, we're trying to stay hidden. Just take off your hat at least. Or something. Take off your shiny little jack boots. And he was like, no, it is very important that I wear what I am wearing. And now they're all being buddies and stacking up like that. So that's exciting. What's going on? A lot of infantry on the Soviets. So finally getting a Panzer IV out from the Ostherr, so this is going to be annoying for the Soviets. This thing's getting shot out, whatever. Swap over metastable, how you doing? Floating 150 fuel, so never float fuel. Fuel's probably one of the most important resources in the game not to float. You want to only ever have as much fuel as it takes to buy whatever you want to buy. Floating fuel's a very bad thing because you could at least start dumping it into a tech building or something. You go up to tier 3 or tier 4 with your extra fuel. That was a little painful, but he killed a squad, so it doesn't matter. You want to at least go up to like another tier if you have fuel that you don't know what you want to do with it, but really what you should do is have a plan for what you want to do with your fuel. So never float any more fuel than you need to be saving for something. I guess he could be saving for a couple T-34-85s because he needs the 260 fuel, and by the time he's got 260 fuel he'll probably have 4 command points, but that's not a good thing, because for that price you could probably just build, look, there you go, you can probably just build the tank over battalion and start shitting out like actual T-34s instead of the expensive ones. So yeah, 260 fuel for 2 T-34s is a pretty bad deal considering you can buy more than 2 T-34s for that. Of course you can skip the tech building, so if you're going to skip tier 3 then I don't know, that can be your source of T-34s, but whatever. If you're going to skip tier 3 you probably want to go up to tier 4 obviously, and then when you go up to tier 4 you're going to want to save your fuel for the Su-85s, but I don't know. You can eventually pick up these guys. They're just super expensive. They're not bad. I shouldn't badmouth them. They're nice. It's a nice source of T-34s. And I would just probably suggest going for the Su-85 first, just because its firepower is going to be superior, and it's going to cost. You don't want to be left high and dry with 2 T-34s trying to tech up to tier 4, where you can get the Su-85. Tier 4, by the way, being built after he canceled tier 3, it seems like. I think he canceled tier 3, so definitely don't do that. Just decide on what you're going to build and build it. And also get your units out of the building when its health bar gets this low and something like a Panzer IV is firing at it. You notice one more shot and this building's going down. Come on, wait for it. Just kidding, there's a magical shot that doesn't do anything. This bullshit happens on Company Heroes 2, that's this game. Just kidding, that one's magic too, okay? This third shot's gonna kill it. Okay, sorry, magic. Continual magic. Okay, there it's dead. See, that's what you get for not listening to Tycho. Tycho warned you, but you weren't listening. What's going on? Taking up to the thing. He's cut off now, which is really funny. You don't let your opponent take this cutoff, right? Because then you don't get any resources down here in the south, and in fact, he's not getting any resources up there in the north too. Buys a mortar for some reason. When you go this doctrine, the thing is you can get the 120 millimeter mortar. This is 360 manpower versus, versus the 240 manpower, so it's more expensive, but on a small 1v1 map it's pretty sweet because its range is like infinity and it can shoot anything you want. If you place it where you'd place a normal mortar to shell your opponent, like a normal mortar would often go up here to hide behind this building, or just back here because you have to. The 120 will be able to shell like over here or something, or like even to the opponent's base if you get it far enough. So that's pretty sweet. So if you go the Doctrine with the 120mm, might as well grab it, especially because he's got so much extra fuel at this point. But so he's seen his opponent's Panzer IV and he needs something to counter the Panzer IV. He does have the AT gun, and between this and the guard's rifle that he could be calling in, he could button it and then just like shoot it with the ZIS, and that can happen. You have to worry about shells bouncing off. What he is doing instead is, or in addition, is also getting, well, clumping up a bit. Trying not to clump up your units like this. It just asks for grenades, and in fact he did get grenaded, although it didn't do very much. Boom, that's going to nice force those off. So he's going up to an Su-85. So an Su-85, very good choice against the Panzer IV. That's what people typically choose, counter the Panzer IV. I like the camouflage on this Panzer IV. It goes well with the pink. You notice I'm a big fan of pink in this game. There's a lot of things I'm not happy with Relic about, but the two things I am happy about are the stupid fucking expressions they gave to the people. They just look like idiots. Durr, I am in the German army. My job is to move the machine gun on the top of the thing so that it points at the enemy. And then sometimes I fire it, but sometimes I don't. My name is Lipschutz. And then I really like the pink too. Like, very few game developers, I feel like, have the balls to just make pink like the default color. But no, Relic is out there. And I'm not joking. I actually legitimately like the pink. The baby blue is also fairly good too. I don't know about that. In general, good job on team colors. So that's an interesting bunker. This whole thing is cut off, but it's not gonna last very long against this Su-85. And especially once you know your opponent has a mortar and an AT gun, which I'm sure this German does. There's basically no point in building these in bunkers. It's gonna get destroyed by the mortar and either direct fire or indirect fire from the AT gun. Because remember, the Soviet AT gun, which is over here for whatever, has this bombard ability, which can fire into the fog of war, so it can attack the bunker from safety. And actually, you can really just attack ground into the fog of war too. But so this mortar needs to pick up and go, or at least use it for bait for the AT gun. The AT gun needs to be refocusing, and indeed it is. It is. This Su-85 is oddly positioned, but could maybe take on the Panzer IV if it tries some crazy circle strafe action. Yeah, bad time to move that AT gun. I feel like it could have gotten another shot off. This is going to be a kind of weird fight. Panzer IV trying some crazy circle strafe stuff, and it's working fairly well, though it did take a hit. Lost a concert squad there, so that's not good. You're going to lose his AT gun too, so that's not good. This is just the fight of the dead tanks, the slow little tanks, and ouch, that thing is dead. This thing needs to not be turning in this direction. This is the worst direction. You need to be really careful with your Su-85s. In a situation like this, you pulled the Su-85 back to your base. Uh-oh, wasn't I looking at before? So, in a situation like this, you pull the Su-85 back to your base, basically abandon the AT gun, because that thing was fucked from day one. So, you pull the AT gun, or the Su-85 back to your base, where your opponent's scared to chase it. He does actually have the manpower at this point to be building another AT gun, so that could be a thing you build. He's also got nothing else on the map, so that's fine. So yeah, pull your Su-85s back. Don't let them get circle strafe. Don't hang out around something like this, a shot blocker, because that just makes it much easier for things to get close to your Su-85 and take them on. What the Su-85 wants is big open spaces like this, not tight clustered sort of neighborhoods like this. And I know a house doesn't seem like a neighborhood, but you can fit a lot of people in this house. You can fit like 3 squads. You can feed a family of 8 with this tire, is what I'm trying to say to you people. So don't hang out around houses. It's a bad neighborhood for the Su-85. Have I been saying Su-86 this entire time? I feel like I have. But if I haven't, good for me, because I'm right. And if I have, I'm an idiot. But that's okay. Look, he's squishing people. Oh, I thought he was, but no, he's not actually. All you have to do is drive slightly further. When people are this far from their squad, it's very easy to squish them, because what squads are always trying to do, look at these guys just running back, they're always trying to reform. Squads always want to be together. They're buddies, friends forever, until the end, when they hang out on the ground doing sit-ups. Okay, so squads want to be together, and if you can force a squad apart, you drive straight through them, 2 of them head left, 2 of them head right. That's bad news for them, because they want to be together and they're going to try and get back together, even if there's a fucking tank in the way, which means they'll end up running, like, basically towards your tank if you're in between a split-up squad. And then at that point, it's easy squishy times. By the way, this is the wrong way to use a tank, parking it directly in front of an AT gun. But then it's easy squishy times when you split a squad in two with a tank. As they try to reform, you just rotate the tank on its axis, basically like crush 80 people. So that's good crushing tips from Tycho Crushmaster. Yeah, people call me Crushmaster 3000 sometimes. I wouldn't say they're right to call me that, but I would say it's a thing they call me. So here's the artillery field officer. He's got a pistol. I can't scroll in enough. There we go. Stop moving. Stop. Yeah, look at that. Badass. Oh, he left. Okay, so Soviet player's fucked. He's lost all his SU-85s. His AT gun's actually still alive. But, the end, you need better AT. And don't get circle strafe. And look, it's another Opal Blitz. So, I hope you enjoyed this Noobcast. Learned all sorts of stuff. What else stuff can we learn? VPs, he actually did pretty well taking his opponent down, so... you know, if he wanted, he could push up with his AT gun, some infantry support, try and get the lucky kill on the Panzer IV, which hasn't been repaired for who knows what reason, and then maybe secure another VP and then win, but probably not. Yep, we've learned things about the video game. There's a mortar. Did he get? Yeah, he got stuff from all the tiers he ticked up to. Most Soviets are going to get one of these two tiers, usually. There's not a lot out of this tier, so a lot of Soviets just skip it unless they're going heavy on the mortars and the AT guns, the machine guns. You don't have to go heavy on the mortar if you've gone this doctrine. The Maxim's alright, but I don't know. I'd save it for an opponent that can spam something or something like that. And then the AT gun, it's good, but you know, it's a lot of manpower, plus you gotta tech with this thing. You might as well just grab SU-85s, and then until then, you can use your guard rifle, just pop and stuff. But yeah, if you can't make it to the SU-85, then it's not like the Soviet field gun is terrible or anything like that. Now we have the space. So that has been a Noobcast. I need to go take potatoes out of the oven, I think. No, actually the timer's not there yet. And Peter is talking to his stream, so I'm gonna go chat in there. Is this game over yet? Fast forward. 8 times speed. Yep, now it's over. So, that's a Noobcast. Thanks everybody. Bye.